Welcome to the session about this C# concept. In this video I'll be talking on encapsulation in C#. Okay, so basically this encapsulation is the object oriented programming concepts. We know C# is purely object oriented programming, and there are few object oriented programming concepts like your abstraction, encapsulation, inheritance, polymorphism. Okay, so encapsulation is the very first object oriented programming principle which I am going to talk now. Okay, so what is encapsulation? Okay, so the name itself suggests to something capsulation. Encapsulation, you are putting something into a capsule, right? You are binding something. Okay, that's what it suggests. Okay, so in functional definition, if I talk about functional definition, it is just wrapping up the data under a single unit. Okay, so let me go to my Eclipse Visual Studio project over here, and here you can see within the class. Okay, so within the class you can see I have my all data members, I have constructor, I have my various method, as well as I have my main method. Okay, so all these things, whether it is your data member, your methods, constructor, destructor, your whatever it is, right? So all those your data members are encapsulated, are bind into a single unit. Let us call it as a class in this case. Okay, so that's what encapsulation is about, wrapping up your data under a single unit. Okay, and if I talk technically, then it is defined as keeping your data or variable or your methods of your class hidden from another class. Okay, so what it mean? I have two classes, program and program1, two classes. So let us say if there is a situation where I want to hide the data, I don't want to let us say I don't want this program to access the data from program1. I don't want, or I don't want to access I don't want this program should access all the data of this program1. I want only some of the data, some of the few variables, and only few specific methods should be accessible to this program. Okay, so let us say if there is any such a kind of situation. Okay, so uh, in such a to achieve such a situation, there is a concept called as encapsulation. Okay, so encapsulation, it is just a wrapping of your data under a single unit. Okay, and in technically the variables of your data of your class, variables or data of your class are hidden from any other classes and can be accessed only through any member function of own class in which they are declared. Okay, so as in encapsulation, the data in the class is hidden from other classes, so it is known as data hiding. We are hiding the data, we are not allowing other class to access the data from one class. That's what the technical definition of encapsulation is. Okay, so two main thing. Okay, how we can define encapsulation: binding the class members together. Okay, so in my class I can have many members. Okay, I can have many data members, so binding all those class members together, we can call it as encapsulation. And while binding the class members together, we are controlling the scope of class members. Okay, now what that means is, I was saying like we are controlling like what this program should be able to access from program 1. Okay, or vice versa, whatever it is. Okay, so what we can do is we can create a variables, we can create a methods or any data members, constructor, anything. We can create the class members in a such a way that I can control its scope. I can decide whether this particular method, whether this particular data type, whether this particular variable or whether this particular method should be accessed by another classes within the within the namespace or in another project. So I can control the scope of class members. Okay, and I can do that by using access specifier. Okay, so there is a concept of access specifier. So by using this access specifiers, I can control I can control the scope of data member. So there are four access specifier. The very first one is public, okay, and the second one we have is private, third one we have is protected, fourth one we have is internal, the default one, and the final one is protected internal. Okay, so these are the five access specifier, and this access specifier defines the scope of respective data member, whether it is your variable, whether it is your method. Okay, so if we use any of the access specifier, so each of the access specifier has its own meaning and its own jurisdiction where it can be accessible. Okay, so by taking the reference, or by using this access modifiers public, private, protected internal and protected internal, we can control the scope of class member. Okay, let us take an example. If I want this particular integer I, or let us say I'll create one method. Let me create one method. Method 1. Okay, let us say okay, let us say I have created one method. Okay, sorry, let us say I have created a method. Okay, and what I want is, I want to decide whether this particular method can be accessed from another classes within the same namespace, or another classes within the different namespaces within the same project, or whether that should be accessed from anywhere. Okay, so if I want to control the flow, or control the what I can say scope of this particular class member, then I can use this various access specifiers. Okay, so each access specifier has its own meaning. So public is, as the name suggests, it is public, anyone can access. Okay, then we have private. Okay, so the private data members are accessible only within class. Okay, only you can access the data members which are defined as a private, are accessible only within the same class. Okay, and protected, they are accessible to child class. Okay, so what is child class? Child class are the classes which are derived from some class which is called as parent class, and that is achieved with the help of inheritance. Okay, so we'll be talking about one of the OOPS concept, which is inheritance. Okay, internal is within sorry, accessible within project, and protected internal, it see, for protected it is accessible to the child class, and for internal it is accessible within the project. So protected internal is either protected or internal. So it checks the combination. Is it accessible by protected? If yes, then it will. Is it accessible by internal? Yes, then it will. I mean, it will check either or, either protected or internal. It will check either or combination. Okay, so these are the access specifiers. Okay, so now here I used public. Okay, so instead of public, let us say I want this method 1 should be accessible only to this class, then I will make this as private. Okay, now this particular method cannot be accessed from outside this class. Okay, so anyways, I'll be talking about this access modifier in my next video. I just wanted to talk about this concept of encapsulation, C# encapsulation. Okay, so the functional definition of encapsulation is, it is just a wrapping of data member into a single unit, or binding a class member together. Whereas technically how we can say that, it is controlling the scope of your class members, or we are keeping the data member or variables of your class hidden from another class. We are just controlling the scope, and we are doing that with the help of access modifiers, or creating the objects. Okay, so that's what your encapsulation is. In next video I'll talk about what are the different access modifiers and how we can control the scope of the class members with the help of access modifiers. Okay, thank you.